I'm Dan Drake. This is Front Up on Geno TV and Channel 99. We're delighted to have Kim Horyn back with us today.
Well, thank you.
You have a new role, Kim. Why don't you tell us what you're doing?
I do. Thank you. Well, as you know, I did work for Autism Speaks, and I just needed a change. So I've been very picky, looking for the right thing, and I think I found it. I'm working for Smart Power, which is a nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C., dedicated to promoting clean energy and energy efficiency. And one of their clients is National Grid, who has launched an energy efficiency campaign on Nantucket. The campaign is designed to try to delay the need for the third underwater cable. So what I'm learning is that in the last 5 years, Nantucket has averaged 5 times more in energy demand growth, in our growth and energy demand, than the entire state of Massachusetts.
Is that the year-round growth, or is it sort of a peak period growth? It's measured by peak periods?
Right.
Or?
It is measured by peak periods. In July and August, especially between 5 and 10 p.m., we are at peak time, not surprisingly.
Right.
Now, our 2 cables right now are sufficient, but this trend in our growth is projected into the next 5 to 7 years. And if that happens, that's when we'll have to make a determination, unless we change our behavior.
All right, we'll talk about changing the behavior in a minute, but if we have to make a determination, let's say 5, 6 years from now, then what's the lead time until a new cable is? I know there's permitting, there's all kinds of environmental issues that have to be dealt with.
It'll be 15 to 20 years.
15 to 20 years out beyond that.
Right. Quite a process.
It is quite a process.
Yes.
And
costly.
Yes, and probably double the cost of what it was in 1997
and
when
2005. Right.
That's a scary prospect.
It is multi-million-dollar, I'm sure. So
the only good, if there is a good thing about it, is that the costs on the electric bills for the first cable will have disappeared.
yes, well, in fact, I believe this year might be our last year for the first cable. I'm not positive, but that's what.
No, if it's 20 years, that
right,
would be right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, that is good.
Well, it doesn't mean if your electric bill goes down, you can be less vigilant, right?
That's right. We need to be vigilant.
You sent me something which has some tips.
Yes.
About, first of all, the facts, which you've given pretty much. I think it's interesting that the 2 cables can take about 74 megawatts, is it, of power, and the peak period in 2013 was something like 45.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
And so there is some room for expansion, but you figure if it grows at 4% a year,
right,
that will double in 30 years or something like that, 25 to 30 years.
Right.
And 45 does not fit twice into 74.
That's right, right. That's the whole crux of this issue.
Right.
And I have to give National Grid credit. You know, I know we don't all love our utility companies, but they have given us a heads up. And I'm sure they have a stake in this as well.
Right.
But at least it wasn't sprung on us in 5 or 7 years that, well, now you need a new cable.
Right.
So I think that's a good thing. This is a pilot program. They started this, National Grid started this 2 years ago, and they needed boots on the ground to carry it on, which is where I come in. But it's a pilot program, and if it's successful, there's a chance that they will replicate it in their other territories, finding alternative, less costly ways of saving energy and not having high electric bills.
Let's talk about this energy audit process for a minute.
Okay.
Which people are free to get free.
Yes.
It's a free service that National Grid sponsors, right?
Yes.
And what does it entail?
Well, that's the first step. When people say to me, what can we do now? I say, please sign up for a home energy audit or small business energy audit. National Grid has invested in more incentives on Nantucket than any other community. And for instance, we just had one done. We had one maybe 15 or 20 years ago, and then we had one this year. And in our experience, it was night and day. The guys were very professional. They were fast. They came in. We thought we were very energy efficient, and they found bulbs we had forgotten about in closets and so forth, and they switched everything out, including the shower aerators, shower heads, and gave us advanced power strips. And we saved $550 worth of energy saving incentives. They were free.
On an annual basis.
Yes. And by the way...
I'm sorry, you're talking about what they gave you in terms of light bulbs and shower heads and so forth. Yeah.
And then, and National Grid is suggesting that we do the audits every 2 to 3 years because they're coming out with even more progressive energy saving devices that we might be eligible for that weren't available.
What do they do? I mean, there are clearly light bulbs that people have and fixtures that they have where these new bulbs don't fit. What do they recommend? They
do, and that's a question when the person is in your house. That's the question to ask him at that time. They used to replace them with CFLs, which had the mercury base. They got rid of those, and I've heard so many people tell me what a terrible experience that was. The room was dark, even with the lights on. Right. The new LEDs are much better. We don't see any difference in our home, and we're seeing a savings on the electric bill, and we're bringing down Nantucket's energy usage. So it's a good thing. Obviously, there are many tips, energy-saving tips, many that we grew up with. I can still hear my...
Turn the lights off.
I can still hear my father going through the house. Would you turn the lights off when you leave? And don't stand in front of the refrigerator with the door open. So those all still are true. I've learned that our, today's technology, phone chargers, flat screen TVs are consuming energy even when they're off. So simple things like unplugging them or these advanced power strips.
That have a switch on.
Yes, and you can power everything off at one time before you go to bed. And as far as the peak time, which is very important, we're asking that people don't run their dishwashers or the washer and dryer, the laundry, for between 5 and 10, in July and August. And a lot of people say to me, well, that's when we run the dishwasher. Well, if you run it before you go to bed, you'll have clean dishes in the morning, and you've saved some energy.
You saved energy, or you saved against the bank that the excess capacity provides? I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay. Got me on that one.
But what else? I mean, say unplugging chargers, flat screen TVs, both of which I don't do.
I know. Again, it's changing behavior. We're trying to rally everyone to be more energy conscious. And you know what it reminds me of is the whole recycling evolution years back. I don't know if you were here then, but we would go out to the landfill, and volunteers were out there teaching us how to read the labels and introducing all the bins to us. Right. It wasn't just plastic, it was plastic and mixed plastic, paper and mixed paper. Right. That was an eye-opener. And I have allergies, that's why my eyes are watering and everything. To this day, I think Nantucket is we most of us do recycle. And we expect our family and friends, when they come to visit, to do the same. Homeowners who rent their houses leave explicit instructions. This is what we do on Nantucket. Please, sort your trash. And that's what we're hoping to unite the year-round community around this energy efficiency campaign, and then motivate our summer visitors.
That to me is ultimately the key.
It is.
A lot of this power usage that's come online is in new houses and seasonal houses.
Yes, and big houses and hot tubs. And we're creating magnets and tent cards to put into the rental homes and the inns and hotels to remind people that this is an important cause on Nantucket. Please, if you leave for the day, turn the air off and open the windows. If you have the air running, please shut the windows and doors. my husband's a caretaker, and it just drives him crazy when he goes out to check houses, and nobody's home. They're at the beach for the day, and air's running full stream, windows and doors are open. So it's little reminders. We're going to have.
Isn't one part of the program, the audit program, to give out smart thermostats?
Yes, and I meant to mention that when we talked about the audits. They have introduced thermostats that you can program from your phone. So you're at work, and this is a year-round person, and the sun finally comes out, and it gets warmer. we hope someday. I could burn my winter clothes, and I'm still wearing them. You can say, oh, I can turn the heat down now, and take care of that, or turn the air up. And
at the end of the day,
as I'm driving home.
Aren't there also incentives for turning in old window air conditioners and refrigerators?
Glad you brought that up. June 24th and 25th, National Grid is having an AC recycling initiative. And we're asking that people who have old working air conditioners, bring them by. They're collecting dust somewhere in your house. Bring them by to 2 Fairgrounds Road, and we will recycle them responsibly. And you will receive a $25 discount from CAM Appliance and/or Marine Home Center on a new air conditioner that's Energy Star rated. And National Grid will also donate $25 to Family and Children's Services. So that's quite an incentive.
That is an incentive.
That's a win-win.
Yeah. And what about refrigerators? Isn't there something for old refrigerators
yes.
as well?
That vendor comes to the community when he has enough to remove. And what the person will receive is free getting it out of their house, not having to take it to the landfill, and a $150 rebate on a new refrigerator.
How old does the refrigerator have to be to qualify? Do you know?
No, I don't.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Well,
I'm learning every.
Who do they call to get information about
They
it?
can call me, and I will get the information.
All right.
I've been in this role 3 months, and it has been quite a learning curve, but that's a good thing. I'm loving just the new.
And are people responding well?
Yes, I spoke to the Lodging Association, and they're all taking magnets and tent cards. NAREB, who we had a...
That's the Brokers Association.
Thank you, yes. And we had a very engaging conversation, and they donated a full-page ad in their home magazine to the cause. So that tells me people are supportive.
That's great. So what do you, over the next 3 years or so, what would be your goal for yourself and what you have accomplished?
I would love to see, again, like the recycling effort, I'd love to see groups coming, letting me know when I speak to them, see hands up that they had their home energy audit or small business energy audit, and that they are excited to tell me how much they've saved on their electric bill, and that they, maybe homeowners telling me how they, in their rental packets, the brokers told me they were going to put in information about this. And I'd love to hear that the success stories.
How many people have had the energy audit? How many homes on Nantucket?
Quite a few. We're developing a map with push pins on it, so you can see what our thinking is. We want to go to all the neighborhood associations and maybe show that one area of the island is really full.
Right.
And your end of the island needs to get on board.
My end?
Not you personally. I know that we've doubled in the last, since January, we've doubled in energy audits.
But do you have any idea approximately?
Yeah. I would say around between 40 and 50 small businesses, and they're just that's a newer audit. Right. We didn't have those until last year, so that's pretty good considering it's a new effort. Right. And the home, I would honestly guess, I'm close to 500 maybe. Yeah.
So it's a start.
It is.
It's a start.
Yes.
And it's probably
And that's in
5% of the total
right
residences on the island,
right.
but it's
and that's just in 2 years, and they didn't have somebody here promoting it. So I'm hoping, when you said my personal goal, that's why I would like to see hands raised when I speak and say how many have already had one. And remind them that every 2 to 3 years, so that you can get a new dehumidifier if you need one.
good. Well, thank you, and good luck. It's sort of a crusade, isn't it?
It is,
that
yeah.
you're on, but it's
I
a
enjoy
good one,
that.
and it's a worthwhile one, and
Yes.
I commend you for it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Good
Thank
to
you
see
very
you.
much for having me.